Putting January 6th in perspective, does dishonesty have any limits? Hello, this is Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. Let's start off today with a few genuine issues of fact regarding the politics of the Trump presidency and the January 6th protest on Capitol Hill. The first is Russiagate. For years, the mainstream media had us convinced that former President Donald Trump was somehow in cahoots with the Russians. One of the two major political parties paid for the creation of a false dossier to politically smear the then President of the United States. This has turned out to be a genuine issue of fact. Second, the doctrine of separation of powers was violated as one of our major political parties infiltrated the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation to politically weaponize them. James Comey, Andrew McCabe, and Peter Strzok all lost their jobs when it was exposed that they were using their governmental powers as executive branch officials to politically punish a Republican president of the United States. Another proven and thus genuine issue of fact. Third, there's the January 6th protest on Capitol Hill, where the Democrat political party turned it into a political cause célèbre, calling it a deadly insurrection that somehow was bad enough to represent some sort of actual existential threat to the continued existence of the United States itself. The political and media narrative spewed by the politicians in charge on Capitol Hill quickly hardened into conventional wisdom, with cries that the President of the United States, by urging his supporters to march to Capitol Hill to protest, had engaged in an act of insurrection against the United States itself. The Constitution of the United States allows citizens to assemble and protest of the actions of the policies of the government. It's called the right of free speech and assembly. There's a huge leap of intellectual reason from encouraging a group of supporters to protest and the intent to overthrow the government and to be labeled a seditionist. Yes, there were bad actors involved who took things too far by turning to violence. But is it sedition? Today, Tucker Carlson released videotapes on the January 6th protest, along with the narrative that the Democrat Party and the mainstream media intentionally spun, a false narrative that the protest that day was a deadly insurrection. Carlson points to the death of Capitol Police Officer Brian D. Sicknick, whose death was reportedly the result of a homicide when a protester smashed his head with a fire extinguisher. Videotapes of the protest show, however, that Officer Sicknick was alive and well, wearing a riot helmet and walking around the Capitol at the very same time he was supposedly being killed by a protester. Carlson makes the point that highly placed members of the Democrat Party did much to push the narrative that the officer was a hero of a deadly insurrection who was intentionally murdered by a rebellious and seditious group of rioters. Now, why and how did this narrative emerge? Whether you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat, we all need some more answers on this one. And we here at ONN intend to keep on looking. It is what it is for March 7th, 2023. This is John Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. Thanks for watching, and we will see you the next time.